Dear Deans, dear Mark, dear Francesco, dear Nida, thank you very much for your words. Thank you for having me today. It's such a great honor to be back here with you. And again, a very warm welcome to the class of 2024, which should even say a hot welcome to the class of 2024. Looking at the weather, I drove back this morning with my family. I had to it was incredibly hard to have my kids believe that we have boars. I told them that every time there was a party in Fleury, there were boars along the roads, making it incredibly stressful to go to some of the parties. They believed that boars only existed in Asterix comics, so please go and find them after to tell them that it's true. As Nida mentioned, it's also very moving for me to be reunited with my INSEAD roommate, my wife, and my son Emilien, who was born on Sunday, March 6th, which is the Sunday evening before the exam of P1, and gave me the best excuse for the grades I ended up having in finance that I probably would have had anyway, but I could, make it that. So thank you again for your help in being my first academic excuse. So every journey begins with a single step. But for each of us, the path to this moment began with the love, guidance, and support of our parents. And before we celebrate the remarkable achievement of the 2024 MBA graduates, please join me in extending our deepest gratitude to the parents here today. Thank you. So today's ceremony commemorates, as we discussed, a significant milestone. It's a rite of passage. For the ones that have been teasing the French people, it's like Inspector Clouseau, a rite of passage that marks the culmination of one chapter and the commencement of another. For me, this occasion holds a profound meaning, as INSEAD played this instrumental role in shaping the person I am today. I grew up in Paris and did a BA in business before joining L'Oréal in Greece at the age of 22. I remember being asked about my long-term career goal in an interview. I responded that I wanted to become one day a general manager, and I worked toward this goal by changing roles every 2 years to be exposed to sales, marketing, operations, product development. As I reflect on my career, I realized that it has been more about making decisions along the way and to board various trains that came my way, rather than sticking to a unique train with a predetermined destination that I had initially chosen. After all, when I go back to my own parcours, Google didn't even exist when I graduated from university, and 64% of the job that exists today didn't exist 60 years ago. What it means is for each of you, it will be particularly important to be extremely clear about the experience you want to live and the skills you need to bring you there versus just focus on a specific job that may evolve or disappear. After 4 jobs and 9 years at L'Oréal, I thought it was a good moment for me to reflect on what I had learned and join INSEAD in January 2005. The great adventure of life is to get to know yourself better, and surrounded by a pool of diverse talents, it's exactly what happened to me here at INSEAD. The first part is obviously learning about our blind spot. In my case, as I mentioned, it became rapidly clear that finance was one of them. To this day, I'm still having nightmares about calls and put. Do you still study calls and puts? If anyone can come and explain to me after that, I would be incredibly grateful to this day. But kind of the good thing is some of my friends helped me to get over and to pass, but it was clear to everyone, including me, that finance was not going to be an area where I would thrive. And on this one, I think it's really important to remind us that starting to close doors is such an important part of your career. And if you have closed some door this year, it's actually a success. Engaging with my group, I think like for most of you, it's gave me a huge lesson of humility. I remember our first case. Each of us had a great solution, but it became quickly clear that we were biased by our specific experiences. We each felt that the others were missing the point and we were frustrated. This is when my INSEAD journey really started, a journey that requires to listen carefully, to really listen, and then slowly build solutions that make the most of every single perspective. On the bright side, each of us get also a glimpse into our superpowers. For me, the organizational behavior class was a revelation. I was reading twice as much as required and participated actively in each class. I had finally found my tribe, and 18 years later, I realized that my genuine interest in organizational behavior has been a central thread that has pulled me along across my career. And just like most of you, I made the most of my last month of INSEAD to explore different worlds, sectors, and companies. I was tempted by healthcare, FMCG, luxury. And then a friend of mine mentioned that Google was on campus. I was absolutely not sure about what to expect, but I ended up meeting great human beings who saw better than me that the skills that I had in marketing, in leadership, were actually transferable in what Google needed at the time. And after 7 rounds of interviews, I got a job offer and joined Google. Through my career over the past 18 years, I continue to proactively seek opportunities to broaden my experience and advance towards my goal of becoming a general manager. Every 2 years, I change roles to gain exposure to new teams in Dublin, in California. And in 2017, I finally became a general manager when I became the country manager of Google in France, which is such an exciting role. It's the opportunity on a daily basis to help French businesses in their transformation. It's the opportunity to bring 1,300 employees here at Google in France and keep the balance between the bold and responsible that we try to have at Google. Despite the success, there were also some setbacks. One particular failure taught me a valuable lesson. After completing a successful project, I was recognized for my creativity. I didn't get such a costume, but I had a nice prize. And however, during an interview for a different role, a few months later, I was rejected. The hiring manager expressed concern that my creativity made me unsuitable for leading operation with sufficient rigor. While I was incredibly upset and considered it unfair, it had a lasting impact on me. I came to understand that we all somehow develop a personal brand, and you cannot afford not to know what you are being known for. We need to be aware of how others perceive us. This is going to bring me to the one piece of advice for you today. I hope that in 18 years, when some of you do graduation speech, you use my piece of advice that I will share today. But before going there specifically, let me have a small convoluting detour and kind of remind you with a Greek myth, the Judgment of Paris. Do you all know the Judgment of Paris myth? No? What? Not yet, clearly. So give me an opportunity to share it during 25 minutes in a huge amount of detail. Get ready. So the Judgment of Paris started with an extraordinary wedding that took place in ancient Greece. Everyone was invited, except one person, the goddess of dispute. As a revenge, she drops a golden apple on a table with the inscription, "I belong to the most beautiful woman." A terrible fight starts, finishing with 3 goddesses competing for the golden apple, Aphrodite, Athena, and Hera. They go to Zeus to ask for his advice, but wisely he doesn't want to choose between his wife and his 2 daughters. And he sends them to the shepherd Paris, who will choose Aphrodite after she promised him with Hélène of Troy, and then the terrible Trojan War starts. The main lesson of this myth for me is the importance of finding the right balance. A successful life is not about choosing Hera, Aphrodite, or Athena. It's not about choosing between fame, courage, or love. A successful life is about finding the right balance and not falling in the trap of Paris judgment. Class of 2024, I offer 3 simple words to succeed: heart, guts, and brain, but it's the genuine focus on balancing this trifecta that will propel you forward, that will enable you to leave an enduring mark on the world. You need heart to empathize, to connect, to lead with compassion and authenticity. Trust me, you will make little progress to bring others along if you don't speak to their hearts. The most asked words in Google Translate are hello, how are you, and I love you. And on Google, people are asking, how do I know if I am in love? I've probably spent too much time with engineers if I need to gather so much data to tell you that love is important. But you will have worked a lot to get where you are, but please never let work take over love. It's a lesson I received when I was living in California. I had taken 3 weeks of summer vacation. For the non-French here in the room, 3 weeks in the US is like 3 months of vacation in France, and I came back feeling incredibly guilty after the 3 weeks of vacation. The next day was the first day of school, and I needed to take our 8-year-old son for a whole afternoon to slowly get him used to his new school environment. I don't know if you have that as part of INSEAD the first day. It's something I encourage. So here I am, first day, leaving the office at lunchtime after my 3 weeks of vacation. I held my son's hand, and when we entered the school, I was praying that no one from Google would know that I'm there and no one would notice I was away. And the first person I met was Larry Page, Google's founder, discussing with Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. Everyone was there, having an ice cream in one hand, a kid in the other. To this day, I have tried to make sure I am there for all the important moments of the people I love. Each of you will set some of the rules. Please make sure your rules obey to love. These memories make up a bigger part of my souvenir than any of my business meetings. You will need love, but you will also need guts. You will need guts to embrace the unknown, to challenge the status quo, to take that leap of faith. My grandfather thought I had actually too much guts when in 2005, I chose to join a young search engine instead of a solid, proven company. Business are evolving, and it's incredibly rewarding, especially to create jobs and see the impact you have when your ideas become reality. But it takes resilience, it takes courage to get started. There is a lot of uncertainty, and it's sometimes incredibly hard. There is one rule of thumb that we use at Google that I have found useful and that I will share with you today. But at Google, we try to give ourselves 90 days target. We call them OKRs, Objective Key Results, and we break them in 70, 20, 10. 70% on the core, 20% of what's changing, and 10% of what could change. And then every 90 days, we adapt to this new rhythm, we learn from it, and we get started again. I found it personally incredibly helpful to adapt and make it less intimidating to have the guts and get started when there is a lot of uncertainty. And then finally, you need brain to analyze, to innovate, to create solutions that not only meet needs, but exceed expectation. Remember how much you have learned from the different perspectives at INSEAD. Make sure you continue. For me, keeping a lot of time to read has been absolutely critical in my career. I turned 50 this year, and with a group of friends, we decided to read Marcel Proust, In Search of Lost Time. It's 1,200 books. We read 7 pages a day during 341 days. The Duchess of Guermantes has very little to teach me about generative AI, but I have found the perspective of discovering other point of view such an important part of who I am and a source of joy. So, as of now, you are about to get experiences that will be stepping stones. But I'm sure that INSEAD, however, will stay the cornerstones. It equips you with the intellectual rigor to dissect complex problems and the collaborative spirit to unite diverse teams. But above all, it ignites a spark. You were talking about it before. It's a belief that business, when wielded with integrity and purpose, can be a force for good. Remember that you can rely on the extraordinary network that Nida was talking about. It was incredibly helpful for me. And the day you make it, stay an active member of this family, of this network, and continue to give back to the school that has given you so much. So there are some reasons to be worried about the world around us as we graduate today, including a tough job market. Some of you already have great jobs offer. Some of you may not have yet, and it's certainly stressful. The 3 months between my INSEAD graduation and my start at Google felt like an eternity, and I know how it feels in this next couple of weeks. But there are also some great reasons to be optimistic. I am absolutely convinced that the skills you bring are exactly what the complex world around us needs. In his great man concept, Hegel reminded us that history is not solely driven by economic or scientific trends. It's also driven by influential individuals who embody the spirit of their time. You are a group of determined leaders from 69 different countries. You have learned to listen to each other, to find collective outcome. You are smart and generous. You are patient and demanding. You have all the keys that will make the world a better place. Class of 2024, the world presents you with a unique opportunity to confront the significant challenge ahead. Seize this opportunity, go forth and make us proud. Or in Dr. Seuss's world, you are off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Oh, the places you will go, class of 2024. Thank you very much.
Merci, Sébastien, for those inspirational and personal words for our 24Js. So this is the time in the ceremony where we start to turn things over to the class of 24J. And among professors worldwide, it's known that teaching at INSEAD means being among some of the most talented teachers in demanding audiences, and therefore it's a great honor to be nominated and win the Faculty Teaching Awards. Every class gets to nominate and vote for their favorite faculty member, and I'd like to thank those of you who served as academic reps for your class, and I'd like to invite Eleni, Sira, Zoe, and Raghab to join me on the stage to present the awards. Please come.